Hello, my crafty friends. It's Marie from Marie's Vermont Creations, and it is day 18 of the Countdown to Christmas card series with Michele from Scrap Secrets. And our theme for today was splatter. So I am using a plastic bag with some water in it, and I am going to put some paint in a light pink, a red, and a white on this paper plate. And I am going to make flowers using this paint and Ziploc bag. I've done this before in a short, I believe. I don't know if I've done it in a video format. I don't remember where. I must have seen this on Instagram or somewhere. And I really like it. Of course, the first panel I'm going to show you doesn't quite come out as well as I'd like it, but I will keep it and use it to cut it down. So basically, I'm using some watercolor cardstock. I don't know if you necessarily have to, but I just thought I'd go with a little bit heavier in case I was a little bit thick with the paint. And you don't need a lot of paint on the tip of this. As you'll see, this first one doesn't look like a flower at all. It's just kind of a blob. So I'm gonna tap it again, but kind of tap some of the paint around as well, so it's not as fully loaded on the corner. And the second one comes out so much better. So I am going to keep putting some flowers on here, and then I will grab a second panel and do the same thing, and that's the panel that I end up using for this card for today. And then once I have the flowers all pressed down where I want them to be, I am going to then add in my splatter portion. So I will take all of the colors. I will splatter with white, and then I move on to the light pink, and then I will mix a bit of the red with the pink that's on my board to get my splatter. So while I am working on this, I just thought that I would talk to you about the series. So like I said, I am joining Michele from Scrap Secrets, and I will have her channel listed down below so that you can check out what she's created for the theme for today. I will just say that Michele's life is a bit crazy right now, so she may or may not have her video up at the same time as I am, but she definitely will have it as soon as she can. I want to just take a minute to thank everyone who watches and comments and enjoys my videos. I truly, truly appreciate it. I try to interact with everyone who leaves a comment on my videos. There will be a giveaway at the end of the series. I will select one random video and select comments, one comment from that to do a gift card for. So the more that you comment, the more likely you are to be entered into the drawing. So we have been doing 2 projects a week from the end of September, and we go until I think the 22nd of December. So we've still, got a few projects left, but I cannot believe how far into this that we are. It's crazy to me. I'm doing the voiceover for this. It is Thanksgiving, so I hope everyone who celebrates has had a wonderful Thanksgiving. And once Thanksgiving hits, it is going to be a roller coaster quick ride until we get to Christmas. So I need to get myself in gear and get things done. The craft show went well at work, so that was fun. I always enjoy making things. I always worry that I'm not going to make things that people enjoy, but everything seemed to be pretty popular, so I appreciate that. And so I am just finishing up the splatter portion. I'm on the light pink, and I'll add into the red just to have all of the colors present in my splatter and just to make the theme. I wanted to try something a little bit different than just doing... I wasn't quite sure what to do for splatter, so I just thought it's an accent for everything. I do splatter a lot, so this worked out. And then I am going to set that aside, clean up my mess, and then I will stamp the sentiment, which is from... Nope, I'm sorry, before I do that, I did decide that I wanted a little something else. So this is an embossing folder, which I believe looks like it's an old Stampin' Up! One. It's just some polka dots, and I have it cut a little bit larger than my A2 size card base, because sometimes I find when I do the embossing folders, they end up shrinking on me a little bit. So I am using my wet glue, and I'm going to add this to the card base, and then I will trim off the little bit that's extra. I wanted to make sure it completely covered my card base, because this is going to be my background. I could have honestly just done one strip of it and then butted up the rose panel right next to it, but I ended up going for full coverage, and then I'm just pressing that down with my hand. and I will trim off the rest of what's left over and then adhere this rose panel. I do trim this down so that it's not quite so big, and then that strip that's left over I will save and I can always use for another card, or you could add it to the inside of your panel if you wanted to, or inside of your card. I don't typically do that. I like to leave mine blank to write, have enough room to write messages. And then I'm going to use liquid glue for this as well. And then the sentiment I'm going to use is from a Hero Art stamp set that you can see there in the corner. I believe I went with Happy Holidays. So I am going to use Festive Berries Distress Oxide for that, so that it matches the paint that I selected. I thought that would go well. Thought about Lumberjack Plaid, but I thought then the Festive Berries I think goes with it more, and it was also sitting on my desk already, so that also made the choice a little bit easier because I don't have to get up. So I am going to use a stamp block to stamp this down, which is a risk because sometimes distressed inks of any kind, whether they be oxides or regular distress inks, they don't always stamp well, but I was fortunate enough to get it to stamp the first time, and I got all of the words without any issue. And then off screen, I will trim that down to just a little rectangle and get it ready to adhere to the card. I will use liquid glue on one side and then very thin foam squares on the opposite side, because part of it is a little bit higher, like I said, because I didn't split that embossed panel and the rose panel, so one end is a little bit higher, so I want to make sure that that is flush, so that's how I'm going to do that. And I do press this and hold it for a little bit longer just because it is Distress Oxide, so I want to make sure that I give it as much chance to adhere to that paper before I pull away that block. And I'm just auditioning where I think I might want that to go, which I don't know why I held it here quite for so long, but must have been zoning out thinking about something. And then I'll add the liquid glue to the one side and then the foam strips to the other. Take the backs off and get that adhered down, and that is going to complete the project for today. If you have any have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them for me down below. I will have the playlist for 2023 and 2024 in the more information section, and at the end of this video I will put the playlist for 2025 so that you can catch up if there are videos that you are wanting to see. And there you are for today, and as always, I hope that you have a great day.